Imagine, it's 1894 in England. You're on your way to work on the local commuter's train when you hear a clanging sound at the front of your coach. You poke your head out the window and see the rest of the train pulling away from you as your coach seems to have broken away from the others in front of you. Most of you would likely either try to call the guard or flat out wet yourself in fear because you're in a lone coach drifting down a main line. While it's fair to say you'd be shook, it was actually a very common occurrence for coaches at the end of passenger trains to detach, but not by accident. As railway companies were starting to compete with each other, focus was moved to speeding up passenger trains. The issue faced was that some expresses and other services had to stop at stations on the way, making the trip longer for passengers that just wanted to go to the end of the line. A prime example would be if people wanted to catch a train going from station A to station B, but most passengers on the train wanted to get off at station C at the end of the line. How can you make the service faster for people going to station C while still helping the people going to station B? I would make you guess, but I feel I've already given the answer away. The answer is the slip coach, or by slipping a coach. The idea is simple. Say 40 people want to stop at station B, but you have a whole train of 190 other people who just want to go to station C. Why not put all 40 people for station B in a couple of coaches, put them at the back of the train, and as the train is about to pass through station B, disconnect it. From there, a guard aboard can brake the coach to a stop either in the station or on the line where a smaller engine would shunt it to the platform. Passengers could then get off at station B without holding up everyone else. And if station B connected to a branch line, the coach would be connected to the branch line train and taken away with them. Should people then want to go from station B to station C, they would board the slip coach and it would be attached to the next train stopping at station B, and from there, taken to station C. It wasn't a very common practice, but it was frequently used on the railways that ran slip coach services, as it sped up passenger trains while also providing services to stations that otherwise would have been skipped to save time. The technique wasn't 100% perfect, however. Each coach required their own guard, meaning the railway had to hire more manpower. The coaches were somewhat more expensive to run, meaning ticket prices for slip coach services were higher than the average train ticket, and because they were separate from the rest of the train, passengers were stuck in the coach. So if you wanted something from the refreshment trolley or needed the toilet, you were fresh out of luck. There was also a lot of skill required in disconnecting the slip coach at the right time and braking it enough to stop it in the right place, so the guards in charge of the coaches needed extra training. The technique was used in the UK as well as Ireland, France, the Netherlands, the US, and many other railways around the world. In the UK at least, there have only been a few accidents regarding slip coaches that I have found, with the only fatal accident being in 1879, where a railway worker was walking along the track before stepping out of the way of a passing express, only to step back into the track and be ran down by several slipped coaches quietly following behind the train. Despite this, slip coaches were used in the UK from around the 1850s all the way up until the 1940s. Afterwards, railway companies didn't see the value in using them and the practice died off, with only the Great Western region of British Rail running a few slip coach services until 1960. Since then, slip coaches were replaced by dividing trains, where a long train stops at a station and disconnects several carriages that are then attached to another train and taken to their destination. A similar principle to slipping coaches, but without the need to disconnect the carriage while it's still moving. Nowadays, thanks to multiple unit trains having high acceleration, most trains can just stop at any station along the line without losing too much time on a run. On top of that, it's just much easier for passengers to change trains rather than having to shunt the coaches if they want to travel to a branch line. While the practice seems dangerous, detaching a coach from a moving train and hoping the signalman is paying attention, it was a very simple solution to a very broad problem. Just another example of a simple idea going a long way. Or at least as far as the next station. Subscribe for more.